Hi everyone, and welcome to Vorldrevolution channel. This is book summary to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, Creating Powerful and Positive Relationships Within the Family by Stephen Covey. Let's enjoy the video. Please subscribing to my channel for more great content like this. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. Overview. Do you want to learn how to create a strong and happy family in a chaotic world? Do you want to discover the secrets of successful families who have overcome various challenges and problems? If yes, then you should read this book summary of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families by Stephen Covey. To learn more about the 7 habits of highly effective families and how to apply them in your own family life, read the book summary here. You will not regret it. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families was written by Stephen Covey with, as he says, such a passion because family is what I care about most. It's a very personal book that talks about how the author, his wife, and 9 children apply each of the habits in their family life. It can also be your guide to solving the problems you face in your family as you strive, individually and together, to become more effective. Introduction. Learn how to change your behavior and help your family become highly effective. Imagine you're about to take a flight. You check with the pilot where you're going to be flying to today. He replies, "No idea. We're going to take off, follow the wind, and land wherever we fancy." You'd no doubt be pretty worried, scared even, and, chances are, you wouldn't get on that flight. Just as an airplane needs a destination and flight plan, a family should also have an idea of its purpose and destination. Sure, it may drift off course from time to time, but with a clear vision of that destination, it can keep coming back to the flight plan for guidance and be sure that it'll arrive safely. This summary to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families by Stephen Covey will walk you through each of the 7 habits. Along the way, it will provide some hints and tips on how you can put them into practice in your day-to-day life as you and your family strive to become highly effective together. In this summary, you'll learn how to create a family mission statement, practical ways to ensure you make your family your top priority, and how 1 + 1 can equal 3, or even more. Habit 1 of 7, be proactive. Almost everyone has heard of the psychiatrist Viktor Frankl. He spent World War II in a Nazi concentration camp. There, he endured horrific experiments at the hands of his captors and witnessed the deaths of family members. Many captives understandably gave up in the face of such conditions, but, he observed, others were carrying out acts of kindness. Some even gave fellow inmates their last scraps of food. He realized there was one thing that couldn't be taken away from any man or woman: their freedom to choose how they respond to their circumstances. Between anything that happens to us and our response, there's a space. In that time, we're free to choose how we respond. What we choose ultimately affects how we grow and our happiness. As newborn babies, we don't have much possibility to choose. But as we grow, we develop what Covey calls for unique human gifts. These gifts are self-awareness, or the ability to evaluate our thoughts, actions, and lives; conscience, our inner voice of what is ethical and moral; imagination, our ability to envision a future different from our past; and independent will, how we respond to our genes and our environment. Instead of simply being responsive, we can use these gifts to make what we can from life, take responsibility for how we respond, and take steps toward shaping our own future. In short, be proactive. To be proactive is the first and most important of the 7 habits. Mastering it is key to unlocking the power of the others. So let's cover some techniques to optimize your proactivity. First, focus on things you can do something about rather than on things outside of your control. Think of the words of St. Francis of Assisi: "God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." Then, make sure you always use proactive language. Instead of saying or even thinking things like, "My grandfather and father behaved like that, so I do too," change your whole attitude and say, "They acted like that, but I choose not to." Remember to pause, think, and choose. Press the pause button between anything that happens to you and how you respond. Think about the possible proactive responses. And choose the response with the best consequences. And don't forget the gift of humor. Laugh, smile, and have fun when you can. You can even laugh at your own mistakes and clumsiness. Finally, as Gandhi said, we should be the change we want to see in others. So, start by being proactive yourself and then inspire your family to be proactive too. Habit 2 of 7, begin with the end in mind. Imagine you're on a construction site. You approach some of the workers and ask them what they're building. "No idea," they say. You ask to see the blueprint. "We don't have one," says the supervisor. "We're building as we go and figuring it out along the way." So you ask what purpose the building will serve. "We don't know yet," they reply. When you think of your family in the same way, without a blueprint, how can you know where your family is heading, what it's for, and what it's trying to achieve? What you need is a family mission statement. This is where the second habit, begin with the end in mind, comes in. Creating a mission statement for your family needs some dedicated uninterrupted time, but can be accomplished in 3 steps. First, brainstorm the purpose, values, and dreams of your family together. Ask yourselves what you want to be and do as a family. What are your goals? Where are you heading? What are your family values? Everyone should share their ideas. The more involvement, the more buy-in and commitment. Accept all ideas at this stage without judgment, no matter how wacky they may seem. Think possibilities, not limitations. Second step. Combine the ideas into a single set of expressions that capture everything about your family. Perfection isn't necessary, but it is important to write things down. You can always revisit the statements later. Write whatever fits for your family, whether that includes statements like "Our mission is to respect and accept each other's talents." Habit 3 of 7, put first things first. Think for a moment about things that matter to you and how you'd rank them. Most people put their relationships at the top of the list: family, friends, pets, work colleagues, and God, for example. Next, they list their values: freedom, trust, loyalty, integrity, and so on. And only at the end, they think about objects like cars, houses, cell phones, and other less tangible things like their job, leisure activities, or any side projects. But the stark reality is that when it comes to allocating your time, you probably don't spend enough time developing your relationships, less time pursuing your values, and what has actually taken over your time are those things at the end of your priorities. What you say isn't always what you do. So, the third habit is to put first things first. Make your family and your relationships your top priority. To help you achieve this, put some systems in place which help you sustain effective results. But keep them flexible and family-friendly while maintaining some kind of order. The Coveys had what they called their 4 big rock family systems. Have regular family meal times to help you eat more healthily and aid better family communication. Other researched and proven benefits include less risky behavior from teens such as drug and alcohol use, better mental health for the whole family, and better grades for the kids. Set aside at least 1 hour on a mutually convenient, consistent day for weekly family time. Nothing will provide your family with more opportunity to build relationships. Use it to review your schedules, solve family problems, and perhaps even a time for a little teaching by one of the children. Whatever you do, make it fun. Your family traditions are also a great time to have fun together. But you can also use them as opportunities for the family to recommit to its values, revisit its mission statement, tell stories, and build and grow your interpersonal relationships. And finally, don't forget that everyone in the family is an individual. Use one-on-one time to be completely present with the other person. If that's one of your children, let them decide the agenda. Use the time to understand the other person completely and build trust between you. And why did the Coveys call these 4 things their big rocks? Well, these important things go in the family schedule first. You'll have some work big rocks to slot in too, but when these are all in place, it's much easier to see where the smaller rocks can fit into your busy schedules. Habit 4 of 7, think win-win. Life is filled with winners and losers. In the world of sport, for example, there can only be one winner of the NFL Super Bowl. But there's no reason why, in a family setting, there needs to be winners and losers. Win-lose, lose-win, and lose-lose situations create at least one loser, and nobody likes to lose, least of all within a family. When we engage in win-lose battles, we're only out for ourselves. We no longer care about what is right, only about who is right, and we fight over who's the best, creating a huge negative impact on our family's culture. When we think win-win, our 4th habit, we adopt an abundance mentality. There's plenty to go around for everyone. A win for one family member becomes a win for the entire family. You begin to think in terms of we and not me. And this creates trust, mutual benefit, and positive outcomes. Covey uses a powerful metaphor to describe how to build mutual trust in relationships. He calls it the emotional bank account. Just like a bank, you can make deposits and withdrawals. When you do something that builds trust, you make a deposit. When you do something that reduces trust, you make a withdrawal. When the balance of your emotional bank account is high, there's a high level of trust, which is also an indication of a high level of communication. So how can you make deposits? Start by doing little acts of kindness. Contrary to what you might think, it's these little acts and deeds that build the most lasting trust. Then, always apologize sincerely when you mess up. Lame excuses or blaming others for your misdeeds result in a huge withdrawal. Don't talk about people behind their backs or gossip about them in their absence. Such actions break the trust between you and the person you talked to. Habit 5 of 7, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Ask any family counselor what the top complaint they hear from their clients is, and you'll invariably hear the same answer: poor communication. In the classic book, The Little Prince, the fox observes that it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. He has a point. Seeking to understand another family member's heartfelt feelings creates a huge deposit in our emotional bank account. So it's no wonder that our 5th habit is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. The key to understanding is listening. Yet often, we only pretend to listen, nodding our heads while checking our social media. Or we listen selectively, trying to catch the main points rather than giving the other person our undivided attention. It's only when we use attentive listening that we really start to give the speaker the time they deserve, focusing on every word and being attentive to their body language, too. But there's yet another, higher level of listening we need to practice: empathic listening. Empathy requires us to do our utmost to see the world from the speaker's viewpoint. When emotions are involved, trust has been broken, and deep feelings are being communicated, we need to set aside distractions and use all our senses to listen. And most of all, we need to listen with our hearts, just as the fox said. When you listen in this way, don't judge or evaluate. Hold off on giving advice too. Jumping in with your worldly wisdom often means you've failed to understand the other person at all. Keep any probing questions to a minimum. Allow the other person to speak rather than, perhaps inadvertently, leading them toward a possible solution. Instead, ask clarifying questions to confirm the accuracy of what you've understood. Such questions demonstrate your desire to understand while generating trust. When you fully understand the other person, you're in a position to give feedback and share your own feelings and viewpoint within their frame of reference rather than your own. That's why, logically, and then be understood comes after seek first to understand. Habit 6 of 7, synergize. The sum of 1 plus 1 can equal 3, or perhaps more. No, I didn't flunk basic math. There really are situations where this is, kind of, true. When two people are put on a project to work together, if they have conflicting views on how to complete it, then the result is probably going to be less than if one of them worked on the project alone. Let's say the sum of their achievement equals 1/2. If they compromise, each side gives way a little to the other, they might even get a result of 1.5. And if they use teamwork and combine their efforts, they'll achieve a result of 2. But, and here's where the magic starts, if they synergize their efforts, each person brings their own strengths to the party, their unique talents and ideas, they can come up with better ideas and solutions than the sum of what they could achieve individually, a result of 3 or even more. When you practice and develop synergy, you'll find that there's no more my way or your way, but rather our way, a better, higher alternative way. There's more creative cooperation, too, and each family member's strengths and weaknesses become irrelevant. Your family will face challenges and opportunities that come their way together and at a much higher level. Habit 7 of 7, sharpen the saw. Imagine you and a neighbor are sawing down similar dead trees in your yards. You have the same age and physical build, and the same saws. You begin at the same time. You stop after a few hours to rest. But your neighbor stopped for a break every hour. But what's this? His tree is nearly cut through whereas you're only halfway. How's that even possible? You ask. And your neighbor reveals that every time they took a break, they also sharpened their saw. Naturally, they were then able to cut through the tree faster. The 7th and final habit is, then, to sharpen the saw, or, in other words, taking the time to renew 4 key areas in your family life: physical, social/emotional, mental, and spiritual needs. Failure to attend to or renew these areas eventually results in deterioration, so it's essential that, both individually and as a family, you set aside time for renewal. Try some of these ideas each day or find some of your own. Physically, try exercising more or eating healthier food. For your social-emotional needs, what about building some new friendships and finding ways to reduce stress levels? Mentally, why not try reading more or starting a new hobby? And spiritually, Summary. The thing to remember from this is that the key to succeeding as a highly effective family doesn't lie in the practice of any singular habit, but rather in learning and using each habit to make a difference. So let's quickly recap those habits. Habits 1 to 3, be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first. So to be highly effective, you gotta provide your family with a mindset, a sense of destination, and a recognition of its priorities. Habits 4 to 6, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, and synergize, provide a structure and process for your family to work together to accomplish its goals. And habit 7, sharpen the saw, describes the power of renewal your family needs to keep doing to remain highly effective. Learning these habits is an ongoing activity. Think of it as climbing a spiral staircase, each step representing one habit. When you move from step 7 to 8, effectively you start over with step 1 again, and so on. Each time you restart the habits, you're at a higher level and better place to apply each habit to even more areas of your life. And finally, here's some more actionable advice. Start with yourself. You can think of working with the 7 habits as concentric circles. You are the innermost of these circles. When you start with yourself, the effects ripple out, touching each relationship until they reach everyone in your family and perhaps even your community. But where to begin? Be honest with yourself and think about one thing you could stop or start doing that would have a huge impact on your family and work on that. Make a simple plan for how you'll keep your commitment to change over the next 30 days or so. Then share your plan with someone who'll help you achieve it through their encouragement and tips, and who you can celebrate your progress with you. When you first worked on your review. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, Creating Powerful and Positive Relationships Within the Family by Stephen Covey is a book that aims to help families overcome the challenges and problems that they face in a turbulent world. The book is based on the author's previous bestseller, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which presents a framework of principles and practices for personal and professional success. The book applies the same framework to the family context, showing how families can develop a shared vision, values, and goals, and how they can communicate, cooperate, and resolve conflicts effectively. The book also provides practical tools and exercises for implementing the 7 habits in the family life. The 7 habits are: Habit 1, be proactive. This habit is about taking responsibility for your own life and actions, and not blaming others or circumstances for your problems. It is also about choosing your response to any situation, based on your values and goals, rather than reacting impulsively or emotionally. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. This habit is about having a clear vision of what you want to achieve in your life and in your family, and aligning your actions with that vision. It is also about creating a family mission statement that reflects your shared purpose, principles, and priorities as a family. Habit 3, put first things first. This habit is about managing your time and resources effectively, and focusing on the most important things in your life and in your family. It is also about balancing your various roles and responsibilities, such as work, family, personal, and community, and saying no to less important or urgent things. Habit 4, think win-win. This habit is about seeking mutual benefit and cooperation in all your interactions with others, especially with your family members. It is also about respecting the differences and diversity among people, and finding creative solutions that satisfy everyone's needs and interests. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. This habit is about listening empathically to others, especially to your family members, and trying to understand their feelings, thoughts, and perspectives, before expressing your own. It is also about communicating clearly and effectively, using both verbal and nonverbal skills. Habit 6, Synergize. This habit is about working together as a team, leveraging the strengths and talents of each family member, and creating something greater than the sum of its parts. It is also about celebrating the differences and diversity among people, and learning from each other's experiences and insights. Habit 7, Sharpen the saw. This habit is about renewing yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, on a regular basis. It is also about helping your family members to do the same, by providing them with opportunities for growth, learning, fun, and relaxation. The book is full of examples and stories from the author's own family and from other families who have applied the 7 habits successfully. The book also offers tips and suggestions for overcoming common challenges and obstacles that families face, such as financial difficulties, marital conflicts, parenting issues, health problems, addiction, abuse, divorce, death, etc. The book is written in a simple and engaging style that appeals to both adults and children. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share. See you in next videos.